My ambition was to create a totally new British musical. That's what I wanted to do. Something that spoke to us of today, of the last 30, 40 years of Britain, where we are today as a nation. And I think that Charles and Howard so stepped up to that in a massive way.
So your 3 sentences to explain the story in succinctly for Bend It Like Beckham.
A young girl wants to pursue a dream for herself that is at odds with what her parents think is right for her, and she has to find a way of making that work for her and her parents.
And it's about the parents' generation who arrived in Britain with all the hopes and dreams, that an immigrant brings, worked very hard to fulfil those dreams, and only to find that their children, now British, have different dreams. As a musical, what we've done is gone 100% deeper into everyone's point of view, and by setting it to music, we're giving you a much richer and detailed experience of what it's like to be first and second generation.
I was grappling with how to give a sense of the Indianness of that world. And it turns out that there's a particular rhythm that's very rooted in Punjabi folk music, which you often hear on tablas and dholaks and things. And I sort of converted that rhythm into a Western style song, and the two things live side by side. And occasionally it bursts out into more of a tabla type moment, and occasionally it moves back into a more of a kind of musical song, and it veers between the two, has a bit of dialogue, and it introduces the characters, and it builds and builds and builds. For me, the great joy was picking on these things that make Punjabi music sound Punjabi, or Bhangra like it sounds Bhangra, or Indian music, like just to take these elements and say, what are you doing there? Do a bit for me. And then Shahid would sing something, an alap or something, he'd do an ornament. And I'd say, gosh, that's fantastic, could we try it like this? And so it's like you've got all these materials.
We just started with one thing, and he started on the piano, the drum came in, a voice came in, and then he said, can you do it like that? And then before you knew it, it was fusion happening in front of our eyes.
By the time we came to the final workshop and we were in the final stages of creating the piece, we were actually creating what can only be described as our own Punjabi music.
Absolutely.
And I said to Gurinder, for this moment, at this point of the wedding, can't we create our own iconic wedding song?
Yeah.
And she gave me Punjabi lyrics to work with, and I wrote my own Punjabi song, Sadar Chari Kara. And the point about that is we couldn't have done that at the beginning of the process. We needed all that period of time, those 3 or 4 years, to get it so in our skin that when I started doing it, it wouldn't feel fake. It wouldn't feel like me pretending to be someone else, but it would come from inside the musical style of the piece that existed. And what's been fantastic is I can just sit down with Gurinder and say, okay, what do you want to achieve here?
I was all about how can we elevate it from the film? How can we use what you are bringing to take it into that arena so it's going to live forever as this was the time, when this is what was going on in Britain.